The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
TBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
and this is Andy, and you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Welcome to Baz 551. Let's get right back into the comic book discussion, boys.
Yeah, so if you are a subscriber to the Platinum Plus version of Basically a Sports Show, which is available only through Base Plus, you get to listen to the pre-show idle ramblings and audio checks,
Right.
And eating of food. That's the other thing.
The eating the food is a very important part of the whole process.
Mm-hmm. Or
It's
else
like
we
an
don't have the energy to ramble for 2 hours and then realize, oh, we've been talking for 2 hours. Time to go home.
It's like was it ASMR, one of those things?
Yeah.
Zach, I have a question.
Hold on, our ASMR listeners for this.
While we're just killing time here, basically, what is your avatar? I can only kind of see it. I see it's got an Angels and a Ducks logo on it, but I don't know what it is.
It's a like the on the street lights down the street.
Okay, they're
they have
banners.
little
I got you. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, is that in a beer? Is it a bag of peanuts? I couldn't really tell.
No, it's that's the light pole there in the middle, and at some
Gotcha.
point, I think this was from 2005. They had these banners up because
that is
the pond and the Angel Stadium are like basically across the street from each other, so they have these lining 2 or 3 streets around the downtown Platinum Triangle, as it's now known.
Huh. What is so are they using the like plum and teal Ducks logo there?
Yeah, that was from like 2005. That was right before they changed.
No, wait.
The Ducks changed in
the Angels
2006.
logo. That's I don't know if they still use that, but that was
They don't use the Angels. The Angels are still obviously in the same relative scheme, but they no longer use the blue baseball diamond behind it.
Am I an idiot, or I thought the Ducks were like the Ducks? They were wearing like black, gold, and orange when they won their cup.
Yes, but the Ducks won the cup in 2007. They changed logos in 2006. They won in the first year that they changed the logo.
So this is 2005, then basically, which they would still be the Mighty Ducks, essentially.
Yeah, that was their last year as the Mighty Ducks.
Gotcha.
Okay, I thought they were trying to make it the whole like Dennis said, they're the city of champions, where they we have World Series champions and Stanley Cup champions. And
no, the thing in the middle says "Welcome to Anaheim," and I mean it's not that far off. I mean the Angels won the World Series in 2002,
yeah,
and then the Ducks went to the Cup final in 2003, and the Angels were then winning AL West Division championships, and the Ducks made it to the Western Conference final in that last year. So they were both very successful at the same time, which was nice. And so I think they were kind of trying to play to everybody there. And now instead of doing the combo banners like that, what they do is during the fall and winter, it's it's the Ducks player banners lining the streets, and then around February, March, you get the Angels taking over their half of the street, and then the Duck season ends, and then they put all the Angel stuff up, and kind of rotates through.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bird. Look at that. We got 5 minutes out of Zach's avatar. Look at that. We can talk
low
about
on content. I mean, we got.
Did anybody suffer a crushing loss this week? Just asking. Needs the floor.
The Lakers lost and the Clippers advanced, so that's not
a little weird. Yeah,
I haven't watched really any of the NBA at all. I watched some hockey last night. I watched Vegas and Colorado, but
that series has been awesome. Yeah,
it was.
The Lakers, they were never healthy enough.
Right.
They weren't healthy enough at any point during the year. Like at the very beginning of the year, they were pretty hot, and then I think it was Davis went down first, and then he was kind of coming back, and he would get injured immediately again, and LeBron had his issues, so they were never really whole for the majority of the season. Got a little bit there for that play-in game. And they got a little run in the first couple games, but then once Davis went down again, it was like it just wasn't going to happen. They just didn't have it all together at any point, and so
Hey.
that was true.
That's fine. I'm okay with. There's a little variety still left. The Trailblazers did their typical bow out, and their coach. I saw something interesting. So he talked to ownership. I guess they fired him, and he said, "Yeah, I agree." So it was a mutually agreed upon termination or something like that.
We think you should be fired. Yeah, you know what? You're probably right.
But man, as soon as they lost, it all started coming out that Dame Lillard's going somewhere else, getting traded, that kind of stuff. And
He's been there long enough, right?
Yeah, I got to step out real quick, guys. So
Okay.
Yeah.
talk amongst yourselves.
We shall.
Lillard is, he's a fantastic player. He's awesome. I mean, Dame time is a legitimate thing. He's one of the most clutch guys.
Yeah, he's really good.
I've seen in quite some time.
Didn't I read somewhere though that even though he's going to be eligible to do basically the superstar turn here, that he actually wants to stay in Portland, or am I remembering it incorrectly?
I mean, I don't know it as close as others might, but
yeah,
he's put in a lot of time and effort there. So if he wants to stay, I mean, that's awesome on him for trying to be that one franchise guy. But I mean, we see how the NBA stars kind of jump around, and if you're somebody you putting your time in Oklahoma City or Memphis or what have you,
Portland,
New Orleans, Portland, at a certain point, if you're not going to get enough guys to come to your town to make you a legitimate contender, and you want to win titles, you got to get out of that city. It doesn't work. And I mean, that's unfortunate. I would love to see the Trailblazers be a legitimate title contender. And with Damian Lillard, they were very, very good. They got to be, I think at the highest they were maybe the 4 seed at one point. But that's not enough to win in the NBA, right? It's unfortunate, but that's the culture of the league now. So if he wants to go to, I don't know, be the Lakers or the Clippers or whoever moves enough deck chairs to get the cap space to have him and other guys to make the team competitive, then I don't blame him whatsoever for doing it. Especially because, again, he has put in plenty of man hours in Portland to make himself revered there.
Yeah, but the Blazers are just good enough to make you think, okay, they're really good, and if 3 things all go in the right order, they've got half a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they're one of those teams that's good at building up your hope just to devastate you every single time, is what they boil down to. Teams like them,
exactly.
And maybe the Grizzlies back when they were good a couple of years ago, or Oklahoma City. I still think that Oklahoma City when
Minnesota Timberwolves of old, right?
What's that?
Remember the Timberwolves with Kevin Garnett and all that? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So I don't. Yeah, I mean, God, you put him on the Lakers, and good Lord, they could go undefeated maybe if everybody stays healthy.
Or I think he's a Bay Area guy, so maybe he would want to go to the Warriors if there was a spot or something. I guess he couldn't because that's where Steph Curry is. They don't want to play in the same position anyway. Yeah, I think there is some interesting results going. The Hawks, albeit they were playing the Knicks, they're technically lower seed in a 4-5 matchup, but they beat the Knicks in 5 games, and then they went into Philadelphia and took game 1. You never see that from a lower seed team. Well, from an Atlanta team, but from any lower NBA seed, especially in the second round, that doesn't work.
No, usually if you get to the second round, if you're the lower seed, then you get swept, basically, right. Or you might win 1, but you don't go in and on the road take game 1. That just doesn't happen, really. I am sure occasionally, but I wouldn't still get my hopes up if I were a Hawks fan for a multitude of reasons, not the least of which is that you're still the Atlanta Hawks. But hey, good for you.
True. I mean, when you look at the 8 teams that are left, it's 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, and then Atlanta's the one outlier is the 5 seed. So that's just the NBA at work. See, Milwaukee lost the first game to Brooklyn, but Brooklyn's now down James Harden. They don't know when he's coming back. That's not good for them.
They've only played about, I guess at this point, maybe 10 games with the big 3 on the floor with that team with Kyrie.
Yeah, less than 15 total. I would say. Yeah. And that's such a weird thing. I mean, obviously when they're all on the floor together, they're a pretty damn good team, but I
Should
don't
be
know.
pretty good without the three of them, though. I mean, I think that I don't remember what their record is, what their seeding is, but they've been pretty solid all year. Even though those guys, it hasn't been like a LeBron, Wade, and Bosch thing where they were just out just running roughshod. I mean, the teams had to do it with just two of them most of the time.
Yeah, and they're the 2 seed. I mean, they're good. I think they're probably still good enough to beat Milwaukee, even with James Harden out. But like, I don't know. I hate everything about that team. It's all so artificial.
Yep.
Like I know we talk about like to win in the NBA. I just said it a second ago. To win the NBA, you gotta have the cap space and get players to come to your team and
but this one just seems really orchestrated, not organic, and not that it ever is totally organic, but this one just seemed like this was like a total heel turn, basically. Screw you, we're going where the money is, we're going to take these three guys. I'm with you. Plus I got to say, and with Kevin Durant, a lot of the shines come off that guy as far as my opinion of him, because he went to the Warriors to get a ring, got his ring, left, and now he's going to try to do the same thing in New Jersey, or not, excuse me, Brooklyn. Wow, where have I been? But yeah, I mean, say what you want about the other guys that do this, but it just seems to me like he didn't put in the work. I guess he did with Oklahoma City, but joining that Warriors team, it's like, dude, alpha dogs don't do that. And you kind of like, I'm going to go up here and be like the fifth option with Draymond Green and Steph Curry and what's the other one, Klay Thompson and all that. I don't know. I just never sat right with me. So I get what you're saying. Yeah. With that team, with the Nets.
Yeah. They did have to do a little work in terms of like trading for James Harden and all that, but like, I don't know. If they end up winning, it kind of takes. I know we've done the super team thing for several years now, and there are some teams that have proven it the other way that you don't need that. But like, if this Nets team wins, then all sort of art gets taken out of how to win in the NBA. Not that it hasn't already been taken away now, but
this one just seems so brazen compared to all the other ones. I guess it's just so like I don't know what the word is I'm looking for here. Just screw it. This is what we're doing. Everybody knows it, and
everybody knew it for like a year and a half.
Yeah,
like this was the whole thing was rumored to go down for at least a year, and then it happens, and it's not a wow, what a big move. It's right. And then of course they tear up the East for the majority of the season. And
who is the number one seed in the East? Philly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't want to call them Clippers East, but they're going to have to show me something here, because I know they've been pretty decent the past few years, but I wouldn't put my eggs in that basket. I'll put it that way. I mean, I don't know though. They might be really, really good.
I agree. They've faltered when they shouldn't have, whether it's injuries or people kind of questioning Joel Embiid's effort and fitness and things like that. But, I don't know. The only other team that I have any sort of thoughts about in the rest of the NBA playoffs, like I don't care about the Denver Phoenix series. Nobody. I mean, I'm sure it'll be entertaining basketball for somebody out there, but
not us. But you all feel free to watch it if you want.
Sure. I just this Clippers team, all marks to them for winning a Game 7, I guess,
in the first round.
But like. I didn't watch the game. I just saw the highlights. But the thing that sticks out to me the most, and it isn't anything about the score or the play or Kawhi Leonard, none of that. They're really still pushing forward, trying to be the Grand Theft Auto Clippers. Yeah. With they're trying to do the Los Angeles on the floor, and like I look at it, it does not look like a Clipper game at all. And I guess that's probably the point that they're trying to drive home, is that we're not your same old Clippers. We're playing for Los Angeles. And it's like, nobody gives a shit.
I agree.
It is literally like, it looks like a fake team. It looks like some fake team out there playing in Los Angeles. And like, yes, there is a little bit of blue and red on the stripes of the sleeves or whatever. And then like, even on the floor, I think the free throw line is blue, and then like the 3-point line is red or something like that.
Well, here's the thing with that whole bit. If remember Playmakers, that show that was on ESPN years ago?
Right. Yeah.
If Playmakers does basketball instead, that Clippers look is exactly what they would have done. Exactly what they would have done. That's who they would have been. Would have been the Compton Clippers. That's who they would have been. That's what it reminds me of. It's like, this is so bad TV movie, bad idea of what I don't even know what they're going for, but I respect what they're trying to do, I think, but it just comes across as so, I don't know, like, I guess pandering's a bad word for it, but it's like, geez, man, just, go with something that looks good and quit trying to be the TV movie version of whatever an NBA team would be. But yeah, they're the Playmakers team if it was about basketball. That's who they are with that look.
Right. They're trying to not be the Clippers, and their answer to not be the Clippers, like, well, people make fun of the Clippers. What don't people make fun of? Well, the color black. Yeah, that makes us look tough. And what else is tough? Old English letters that say Los Angeles. That makes us look like a thug. Like, yeah, we're real hard. We're gonna show them. Like, come on, guys. Like, it's such a ruse. And as a Laker fan, like, yes, I was disappointed the Lakers lost, but at the time I thought, you know what? It doesn't matter. The Clippers look like they're going to lose to Dallas, and as long as the Clippers don't last longer than the Lakers, I'm okay with it. And then the Mavericks went and did what they've done the last couple seasons. They haven't won a playoff series since they won the championship in 2011. Isn't that kind of amazing? But like they were up 2-0 in the series. They even all the road team won all the games up until Game 7. So like they went back home. They were up 3-2. It seemed like close it out and just move on and get rid of the Clippers, and we all get to make fun of them all over again. And then they didn't. So I'm counting on Utah of all teams to right the ship, and so we can make fun of the Clippers. And
don't worry.
Like, unfortunately, like it's Utah, Denver, and Phoenix, and it's like, Denver knocked out the Clippers last year, but
we will
do again.
One of the Clippers. Whatever they can do that will make them most Clipper-like is exactly what's going to happen. And if that means going all the way to the conference finals and losing in Game 7, that's what they'll do. It just depends on what is the most Clipper thing they can do right now. And I think that whatever that is, that's what's going to happen. So I'm not worried about it. They're not going to win anything. They're the Clippers.
No,
they're just not. It's not going to happen. I mean, rest in peace to Mike's Maple Leafs, but it's kind of the same thing. You just know it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, no. I think between what they did last year, how they reacted to everything last year, and the paint that they're trying to put on themselves of being, the hardcore Los Angeles team, like it all just seemed it. In the same way that the Brooklyn Nets roster is so very inauthentic and just kind of slapped together, I think this whole Clippers image is so inauthentic. It's just like not. If I was a Clipper fan, none of this would inspire my inner heart of like Clipper fandom, because this doesn't look like my team. If I was a Clipper fan, that's what I would say.
Question when they first started doing this, when they first released it and all that, my first question was, do you really think that matters to people, that there were no Lakers fans in those neighborhoods or in that particular culture? Are you kidding me? The making it look like it's graffiti or whatever they're going for, I'm not even sure what the hell they're trying to do, but that's not what's going to do it. You've got to embed yourself in the community. You've got to ingrain yourself in the community. You've got to win. Yeah. You can't be the Clippers. You got to be the Lakers. And that, I don't care. The Lakers, I mean, come on. You want to talk about a team that's nowhere close to looking like the Compton Lakers, or that's them. It's like they're a traditional team with mostly traditional uniforms, and I guarantee you that the vast majority of the fans that the Clippers are going for are all Lakers fans, and you're not going to get them. You're not going to get them with your whatever you did, division title or whatever, compared to 18 or however many banners there are up there at this point. It's just not going to happen. So it's just a silly move.
We were just talking about, Andy, how my big takeaway from watching the Clippers win Game 7 and finally do something with themselves, I guess, is that it all just looks like, paint on a pig sort of thing.
Andy, I said that if remember the show Playmakers, that NFL show, that if that was basketball, they would be what the Clippers look like with those what do they call those uniforms? Their city, is that their city edition? What is that?
I don't know. I believe it's the city edition. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. There's too many editions. I can't do it anymore with all their BS. Is Mike?
I just assumed he was going to be late, so I never really worry until if he's a half hour late, then we should probably say something. But he, who knows what he's up to? He might be working or something. Hey, I haven't heard from him. Have you guys?
Yeah,
Nope.
no. The chat was quiet over the weekend, so no.
He is. He might be like wandering the beaches of Florida looking for meaning after the Leaf series. Mike, go ahead.
Classic Bass group chat for a window inside for all the people listening is when someone's not around for like 20 minutes, and then we send, "Hey, you showing up?" The response every single time is, "Oh shit."
Yep.
And so I'm sure Mike will be joining us shortly.
Yeah. No, I say that. I feel like me and Mike both were late for a show just a couple weeks ago, where I just see Zach, Mike, Andy, you guys go. It's like, oh, it's Monday. It's holy shit.
Yeah, it's always, oh shit, I forgot.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, it's never just it's never responsible. Oh, I'll be there in a second. It's oh shit.
Oh shit. Oh shit is the first thing you see every single time. Yeah.
I wanted to say earlier, in Mike, it'd be a nice little jump in for him as well. But I have turned a corner on a couple uniforms. In the NHL.
In the Chell.
The Vegas Golden Knights uniforms. Don't like them anymore.
Oh, I never liked them to begin with. Thought they were okay.
What's turned you on them?
I as I was watching,
I had people come around on them, but I don't think I've heard anyone change their mind.
As I was watching them play, I just felt like they just look unappealing. There's nothing really. They have no personality, and I get they could have been worse. They could have been infinitely worse as an expansion team. Sure, like they could always look like crap. And after they came out, it's like, okay, these could have been just terrible. But after a couple of years, I've just been. I feel very bored with them. And don't feel very. I just get nothing from them personally. But then at the same token, the Avs, I actually really like their road uniform.
The road version is good. The blue really does something extra for the road as opposed to the home.
I felt like in watching some of the game between those two that the Avs just look way better. They look, there's issues with the crest and everything, but the overall look, I felt like, you know what? That's the Colorado Avalanche. I know exactly who they are. I can get behind that look a bit. Whereas the Vegas Golden Knights, it's like, oh, this is a creative team some kid made in EA NHL and just kind of went with a lot of the default options.
Yeah,
it doesn't really
I think if you're comparing those two looks on the ice, which we got to do last night, Colorado and walk, it's not even close as far as which team looks better. And I'm not a big fan of the crest, but I love the color scheme that they do.
Beautiful. Yeah,
and
we talked about when they changed the rest of the equipment back to blue. Finally, that
right,
like
It looked weird at first because you weren't used to it.
Well, the home uniform, there's still something off about it. It doesn't look complete yet. Like there's missing one little detail that will really set it off, and I don't know what it is. But the blue with the white jerseys, like the blue pants and the blue gloves with the white jerseys, that's killer. That's really good.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a way to find the right color balance on the homes because they still look a little drab at home with the darker maroon and the slate blue. So
I'm just going to throw this out because I always ask this, but why can't we? I know that we don't want to switch back to white at home, dark on the road. Why can't we split it down the middle? I mean, why? I mean, because there's a lot of teams that I like better in white, and like if I went to say a Jackets game, I'd much rather see them in white than the blue. Rangers, same thing. I just wonder why we can't do that. What's so hard about it? Because I'm sure that I'm not the only person out there that goes, I miss the way we used to do it in the old days.
Yeah, it's the
old days. I mean, like 10 years ago.
All the alternate jerseys are dark, and you want to wear your alternate jerseys at home. And if they want to take them on the road, some of these alternate looks. Not only they have alternate jerseys, but they have alternate helmets and alternate pant shells and different gloves. So to take an alternate look on the road, you're packing a whole lot of extra equipment that you don't necessarily want to do now that you're in this age of, I mean, most teams have at least 4 uniforms now, right?
Yeah. Except the
home,
NBA,
road,
which has like 13.
Yeah, the retro and the reverse retros and whatever else. The regular alternates. Like the Ducks had 4 jerseys this year. And I think like a team like the Kings, I think had 5, maybe even 6 at one point. It's a lot going on. And so I get why, from a practical, like a logistical standpoint, why they do it that way. But I agree.
Right.
What I would want for all sports, I want all sports to adopt the soccer model where you have your primary look and then you have your clash look. And whether that's just a white version of your regular jersey or whatever. But like, you know, if the Blackhawks and the Red Wings should both be wearing their red jerseys, right? Let's say maybe you say the Red Wings look better or white, whatever. But if the Red Wings and the Blackhawks are both playing each other, then one team has to wear the white jersey that
Right.
day,
Yeah.
instead of both teams wearing red. Or, you know, and I think this, to bring this back to Vegas, I think the problem that I have with Vegas is they're too similar to everybody else in the division. Like when they came in with the dark gray and the black, well, the Ducks are black and the Kings are black and the Sharks have black and the Coyotes have black. And it's like all the teams in their immediate vicinity are some derivative form of a super dark jersey. And so you come in with another dark jersey, and yeah, you have the shiny gold stripes and, you know, the different material and all that to try and set you apart, but it's very dark. For a team that's the Golden Knights, you should be a little bit more bright. Now I say that, and I eventually came around to accept the Golden Knights original look, but I think everything they've done since their inaugural year, like anything they've added to it, has taken the whole entire set down a notch every single time. Like,
Agreed.
These gold alternates are atrocious.
Those are the ones
Yeah.
that have the material that like my grandmother's curtains were made out of. Those.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
ones. And then you have the golden helmets, like the Notre Dame-esque paint with the shiny gold.
I'm sorry, those were.
That's
stupid.
really bad.
Yeah.
And I don't hate the red uniform, the reverse retro, but I know it's not a favorite of anybody else's really. So that that knocks it all down again. So they had a fine brand. It was fine, but everything they've done since then has just made it more gaudy or worse in various different ways. So they're not going to change anytime soon because they sell a lot of money. You know, you go to any gift shop on the Vegas Strip and there is a Golden Knight T-shirt in there now. But
There's
they
been
could use a little trimming down.
I feel like there's been too much emphasis on red. Like if you're watching some of the highlights or just watching the game the other night in Vegas, first of all, the crowd was going fucking nuts there. So it was cool. Like that was cool to see just human beings filling up a stadium going wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's just a ton of red in the crowd. And I know that a lot of it was their reverse retros. And I feel like the overwhelming presence of red is part of what has irked me to the Vegas brand. I feel like gold has just sort of fallen by the wayside, in my opinion. But
Yeah,
here's Mike.
Has joined us. Let me click him in here.
Hello.
There he is. Hi.
Hi. No, that was an interesting couple of minutes there. Well, I'd completely blanked on today, so that's my bad. But then, like literally, just as Andy had texted me to be like, "Hey, you coming on?" I'm just about to sign on. And then my friend calls me and is like, just wants to unload a bunch of personal shit. And I'm like, this is not a good time, but okay.
Oh, no, you should have had him come on and we would have just acted like we couldn't hear him and listen to all of it.
Oh, Lord.
It would have been fun, right?
Oh, Lord. No. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I don't feel qualified to help you with this, but you insist on coming to me, so okay.
Those deals.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking about how whenever this happens, and the listeners don't get to see this because the text, the first thing everybody says is "oh shit." Never.
Oh yeah.
Without fail. Oh shit.
No, man. Today was just one of those very low key days where it was just very easy going and just lost track of everything. So
Well, welcome in, Mike.
Thank you.
Zach was telling me in the pre-show, the exclusive Patreon-only pre-show, that he was having a nice lazy day, and we were just kind of enjoying that. Today was just kind of a chill day.
Yeah.
I was spending the 90 minutes before the show cussing out Spectrum Cable in every conceivable way I could think of.
I mean, now when we
That's
say
always warranted. I've dealt with them out here once.
Well, we got a new modem that we didn't even know we were supposed to have. Like, oh, by the way, we've been billing you for this modem. And like I told Andy, but long story short, we couldn't get the fucking Wi-Fi to work. The Ethernet, the hard wiring wouldn't work. I'm like, well, this is great. I've got 40 minutes till showtime here. I've got to do something. Well, we finally got it working and everything. But I mean, I'll just say this and shut up about it. But a company doing anything other than providing internet or cable with their record would have gone out of business 100 years ago.
I mean, cable companies are truly an anomaly that seem to disprove the, free market theory. Like it's really fascinating if you look at it. But
I think we would have gotten better service in the old Soviet Union than these assholes. I'm just saying it's horrible. But I digress. Let's move back into something that people are actually interested in. If we've never been interested in us in 10 years, who knows?
I think we have.
I think everybody can relate to being fucked by their cable company. I mean,
yeah.
And I came up with about 35 different ways to tell them to go fuck themselves.
I mean, here's the thing. I actually have Spectrum here in Tampa, but and they're not great. Don't get me wrong, but like you have to understand that. After having dealt with Rogers Cable in Ontario, it's like a new dawn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I'm serious. I'm going, how fucking bad can Rogers be?
Rogers? Okay. Well, see, the problem in Ontario is that it's a two-way duopoly between Rogers and Bell, and they control the entire province. And then, so, like, literally, they just work in cahoots to like fuck you over. So it's legitimately bad. I can't really explain it how bad it is to you without context. But just find any Canadian, preferably someone from Ontario, and ask them about either Bell or Rogers Cable, and just be prepared for a show.
Okay, I'm going to do that first chance I get.
It's not a good. But yeah, no. Like when I started dealing with Spectrum, it legitimately was like,
holy,
thank God.
I can't believe that. I'm astonished by that. What was I going to say about the cable thing? Oh, what this is just we just get their internet because my girlfriend's job pays for our internet, so we of course they're the best internet we have around here, so we get it. They can go fuck off with their cable. I mean, my God, they're charging $190 a month for bullshit. It's
yeah,
like
no,
that's the name of the package. It's the bullshit package.
Yeah, and you don't have an option to opt. Like you have to get the bullshit. Like
yeah, like I mean, Showtime. I look. I don't. Maybe people like Showtime, but every once in a while, like, let's see if something's on Showtime.
You didn't want to Showtime. You didn't want to watch. You didn't want to watch Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather because that's a Showtime thing.
Oh shit! I would have watched that. I didn't know it was on.
It was on last night. Yeah.
Who won?
Nobody.
Oh, they didn't announce a winner, Greg. No,
it was
no winner.
It was a draw.
Like no, it wasn't. It wasn't that it was a draw. They literally agreed beforehand to not announce winners.
What? Floyd Mayweather kicked his ass, right?
Oh yeah, no. The funny,
yeah.
They put up at the end of the fight. They put up the stat. I didn't watch it because I'm not giving my time or energy to that nonsense. But I just caught like the little bits that I saw on Twitter. But Showtime put up a graphic once the fight was complete that Logan Paul threw 200 punches, like over 200 punches, and landed about what was it, like 20, 25, 26?
Oh no.
Floyd Mayweather threw about 100 punches and landed like 47.
He was not trying. Like you could
No.
just from what I saw.
Would you? If you're like the best boxer of your generation and this fucking YouTuber, like, would you try?
Well, so here's
look at their two faces after the match. You have Floyd Mayweather just kind of smiling, like, "Oh, that was fun. I just made $100 million for a
little
light workout." And then you look at Logan Paul's face, and he has like bruises under his eyes.
You know what this is? This is when Mike Tyson was a big thing back in the 90s. Everybody's like, I don't, because he would knock you out in like 30 seconds, no matter who it was. Everybody would be like, fuck, for $15 million, I'd let Mike Tyson knock me out. That's Logan Paul is that guy. He got to do it. He got to go in and fight an actual boxer for a paycheck, get his ass beaten. Now he's rich.
And now he's getting all the, hey, props to Logan Paul. He stood in there for 8 rounds with a world champion, didn't get knocked down, and blah, blah. And it's like, Floyd Mayweather would have killed him if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
there was only one moment where Mayweather landed a nice little chin shot, and it was and to Paul's credit, I mean, he's a big dude. So, but I mean, after that punch, I'm sure a couple people got together between their corners and were like, let's just hug the rest of the time, because we need this to go the distance for just the sake of everyone's dignity. But before the fight even happened, Mayweather was like, this is legal bank robbery. You guys are paying us millions of dollars. We're not going to do shit. Nobody's going to win or lose. There's no, I don't think there's any Vegas where, I'm sure there was gambling on it, but I mean, if there's no blatant winner or not a knockout.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could have legally bet on would be knockout, and in what round? Because they weren't going to announce an actual decision.
But honestly, though, don't we all think that if Floyd Mayweather wanted to at any point in that fight, he could have taken, say, a minute and just beat that dude half?
Oh yeah, he could. This could have been over in under a round.
Yeah,
they were all in it to get their paycheck and go home.
Yeah,
because they knew that they didn't have to throw a single damn punch, and they were going to make $100 million, or Floyd at least was going to make $100 million.
God.
That's just so hilarious to me. Like, they agreed beforehand that there wasn't going to be a winner announced, and then people have the audacity to say wrestling's fake. All right, like, Jesus.
Here's what I think we should do right now. In fact, I'm going to do it on behalf of all of us. We, as a show, challenge Logan Paul to a match. All right, all we want is $3 million each. $3 million for each one of us,
and Tostino's pizza rolls for life.
Of course, that too, as always. And we will each go one round with you.
And that Lucky Stripe sponsorship.
And our Lucky Strikes, exactly. So yeah, I'm going to challenge him right now, because that's all this is. Is a guy going, well, I'll let Floyd Mayweather kick my ass for X amount of dollars. So okay, well, look, Paul, put your money where your fucking mouth is. We're challenging you right now. There you go.
I found the actual statistic bar. So Logan Paul, he threw. Sorry, that was jabs. So he threw 73 jabs, landed 7, threw 144 power punches, landed 21. And so in total, he threw 217 punches, landed 28, or, a percentage of about 13% of his punches total.
Okay.
Floyd Mayweather threw only 14 jabs, hit 7 of them. Threw 93 power punches, landed 36 of them. So a total of 43 total punches out of 107, or what is that? 40% of his punches.
Well, here's the thing with Mayweather too. If he could throw 200 punches in a round, if it was an actual boxing match, easily. I mean, these guys, I'm sure he didn't even hit him that hard either, because that's a difference too between Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather hits you, you're going to know you've been hit. Whereas I don't know that Logan Paul, and I didn't see any of it, so maybe I'm wrong about this, but Floyd Mayweather was probably like, that's all you got? That's it? But hey, you know what? I'm getting paid. I'm not worried about it. I don't want to get hurt. He's in his 40s now, right? So, I don't know. The whole thing just seems ridiculous. But the point being,
it's all for money.
Other than that, there's not a fucking thing on Showtime. That's what I'm saying. Not a fucking thing. And HBO kind of sucks too.
I think HBO Max is actually, despite like a bad launch, has become one of the deeper streaming services.
I love HBO Max.
Speaking of Spectrum, though, here's the thing: you get that fucking package shoved down your throat that you cannot opt out of. All right, but do you think that bitch transfers over to HBO Max? Of course not. Even though it's supposed to, it says if you're an HBO subscriber,
right,
you get to get HBO Max for free. Well, guess what? Somehow Spectrum, because they're evil, they're the empire, has made it so that you can't do it. Because I've tried like 30 times. It's like, nope, sorry, can't do it because your package doesn't include this. It's like, how the fuck does it not include it? I'm paying for HBO. I have it here. I'm subscribed to it. And you're telling me that I'm still basically I'm subscribed to HBO, but I'm technically not a subscriber to HBO, which fuck them. Just fuck them. And that's that. Just move on to something else. I'll get all riled up again. Those fucking assholes. God. Fucking
man, I used to work for a cable internet company for.
So did I years ago, but yeah,
I had some great calls, man. I had people call in, and one guy would say, you know, he said, because we had like a set top box, and it had a power adapter, and a lot of times those power adapters were made very cheaply, and they'd go bad. So he'd be like, I need a new power adapter shipped out to my home. And I was like, man, it's like 6:30 at night. Nobody's working. We hire a bunch of union guys. They quit at 5. You're not getting one till at least tomorrow at the earliest. And he's like, well, can't you send a jolt through the lines? like I sat there. I'm like, you want me to send a burst of electricity through your home to like resuscitate a fucking like it's CPR or something? And it's like, dude, I'll burn your house down if that's even possible and start a fire. But,
yeah, let me just tap my jolt of electricity button and
I don't know. Just a lot of dumbass. Like it was a great like early job in my life to just expose me to fucking morons.
Oh yeah,
and,
we would get the same kind of calls too. It would be, can you do something about the crowd noise at this Yankees game? It's like, no, we can't. No, the fuck, no, we can't.
I'll call him up.
You're right. The best ones were always this though. Was the you'd get a phone call. We've lost our dog or our cat. You know, I mean, I hate to hear that. Can you put it on the TV? It's like, we have like 85 channels. Do you have a preference? Because I mean, like, can you put on the TV that we lost our dog and like an announcement? Like, oh yeah, we'll drop right into the middle of this like highly rated primetime show to break in and do programming saying that you've lost your fucking dog. That was always my favorite. Fuck Spectrum, fuck everybody. I'm tired of this bullshit. It just aggravates me to no end. It's like that you can't make anything fucking simple with that. I'm like, I can't believe you think they're better than anything.
You haven't dealt with Rogers Cable, man. All right, you don't know.
All right, anyway, do we have any sports stuff? Because I actually stole something from another podcast.
The NBA's been doing shit. I don't care.
Well, we talked about that. We haven't talked about. I mean, it could be over by the time this podcast actually comes out. But
Montreal,
Les Montreal Canadiens are tearing through.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
They're big Jets.
They're up 3-0 on the Jets. The game 4 is tonight. I don't know why they're playing back to back for 3 and 4. That's odd.
I thought that was odd too.
Well, I think it's because they didn't. Wasn't it because the Canadian teams were delayed at the start?
Yeah, I had forgotten about that until now. Yeah,
I mean,
so but now they're going to be caught right up because Montreal made it so easier in the second round. But I mean, Montreal gets the honor of playing either Vegas or Colorado in the next round. So good luck with that, Habs. I would love if it's Colorado, Montreal, and Colorado needs to go to Montreal wearing their Quebec Nordiques retros.
Well, that'd be pretty.
I mean, if they liked fun, they'd do that. But you know,
See,
I don't know. I don't think they're allowed to, but
I saw highlights again. It looked like there was a lot of people at that Canadiens game. So,
it was only like 1,500, right?
Yeah,
it looked like it was.
No, they spread it out real weird. It's not like I was surprised because when I was watching part of it, I thought it was like, man, are they pumping in fake crowd noise? But then they zoomed out a little bit and you could see there's like scattered, handful of thousands odd people. But as I watched that game, I was at first like very like pleased to see like just the uniforms. Very enjoyed. I really like their home sweaters. But the problem is, and I can't unsee it now, is it's always been this way since they updated it, is that the Canadiens look like Fat Albert, and there's just no way around it. Like it's just inescapable. They look like Fat fucking Albert. Now I'll show you here, and you're not gonna be able to see it. Nothing against Fat Albert, great TV character, whatever.
Yeah, but it's what the Canadians have worn for
ever.
So look at the stupid collar,
right? It's the collar,
and that's Fat Albert.
Yeah,
they're the same picture. It's just the same picture.
Oh, look at that, man! Those are beautiful. God,
they're great. They're great sweaters, but man, they just need to like fix that collar a little bit so you don't look like Fat fucking Albert with his.
Isn't that a problem with the current Adidas cut anyway? Is like everyone's collar looks like ass.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, what is it with these fucking major sports leagues and these stupid collars over the last 20 years?
I'll tell you what it is. Like, it's because Nike and Adidas, Reebok, whatever, like they have proprietary cuts or templates that they want to show off. So like, this is an Adidas hockey jersey or this is a Nike football jersey. So like, that's why Nike NFL teams had that Flywire shit and those toilet seat collars for a few years because
that fucking sorry, Mike, that Flywire. I'm just going to say, just point out stupid. Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, no, there was no reason those jerseys had to have those collars other than Nike wanted to highlight their template using the NFL as advertisements. And we know that because some teams opted out. The Patriots, for example, went with the Nike cut, but used the same collar design from their pre-Nike uniforms. And Green Bay did it too. So it's like, it's perfectly fine. Like and it's the same thing with Adidas. Like Adidas has their Adi Zero jerseys and they want to essentially advertise that template using the NHL, so every NHL team gets these stupid flat broad collars that look like ass regardless of how you color them.
That's exactly right. I just the Flywire thing, I mean, if it was so great, what happened to it?
There are gunshots going off? What the hell's happening?
I don't know.
No, they're doing the trash by my fucking window.
It's just like Zach is just taking a bat to something. Fuck you! Smash.
I got him riled up with Spectrum cable. He's beating his cable box. Oh, he probably doesn't have a cable box.
No, I don't have cable at the apartment. I just have Google Fiber for internet, which is
we can't get that here. That's
very nice.
But I will say this on Spectrum's behalf is that the new modem is fucking blazing speed, so that's great. But other than that, they can go fuck themselves.
I have not had a single internet problem since we installed Google Fiber. It's pretty choice. I'm enjoying it.
But we don't have cable either. We got we've got all the
anyway to stop going back to the cable problem.
Because I believe me, I'm so pissed off at them. I'll go on all night.
Can't escape.
I know. I think what's going to happen with these collars is what the same thing that happened with whether it's the Reebok Edge collars or what those Flywire NFL collars that we're talking about. They'll fix these in like 2 years once they sell enough of the first round of these things. And then they'll figure out we figured out how to fit. Like, remember when it was Reebok, they all of a sudden for the Winter Classic with the Bruins and the Canadians, they found that old timey sweater look collar.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, that looks gorgeous. Where has this been the whole time? It's like, we just figured out how to do it. It's like, of course you did. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, they still can't figure out how to do green, so maybe that's true that they were just that.
Well, that was Nike.
That was Nike. That's
what I'm saying. I mean, it's just not out of the realm of possibility. Nike can't do green. Maybe Adidas is like, fuck, we don't know how to do this. I don't know.
No.
Anyway, go ahead.
I don't know. The only thing that bothers me about the Adidas collars, even more than the ones that were on the Reeboks, like I understand why we have the laces. It's a hockey look. They're even more vestigial on the Adidas.
Well, that's a problem with the Adidas. That's a problem with the Adidas fucking collars. Like if they just used real hockey jersey collars, then you could have proper laces.
Yeah, but that would make them 0.56% slower, Mike.
I'm
He's
sure
not over.
everyone would manage.
If it's equal, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Like the thing that I always love about that is, the what was it, the 2006 Swedish Olympic team
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
that won gold wearing just their regular ass jerseys, and everyone else was in like the Nike
Yeah.
Yeah,
form
they wore the
fitting ones.
PCMs and
Yeah.
the Nike Swift. Ooh, those were. We complain about these. Those original Nike Swift cuts that they were using internationally. Those were.
But I mean that kind of goes back, like if we want to talk about the first generation of quote unquote slimmer jerseys, Nike Swift and the Reebok Edge jerseys, like originally they had some pretty wild designs, and the justification that was given was like, oh, these new templates are more aerodynamic and you can't do certain traditional striping. That at one point they wanted to tell the Montreal Canadiens, like, your chest stripe can't wrap around to the back, and then the Canadians just simply said no, make it work.
Yeah,
And
that's why Toronto didn't have stripes on the waist, because they're like, oh, we're gonna tuck these in.
Yeah, everyone was going to tuck their jerseys in and have giant numbers on the pants, and
Oh God.
but you see what happens both with Nike's, like, Swift jerseys or the Reebok Edge is it's what Zach said. Like, after a few years, all of these, standard traditional hockey sweater designs that we were told can't possibly exist anymore started happening again.
Now, wait, did I not just see the Dallas Stars star pattern show back up again this year?
Yeah.
Curious.
It's almost like
I
they
thought
could
that
have
was dead.
almost like they could have done it the entire time, right?
Almost like they could have done it the entire time.
I want them to keep increasing the speed till we get to the point where they're 30-40% faster and bursting into flames as they go into the corners and stuff. That'd be great.
Just a couple guys.
Wasn't it?
Here comes the big one. Oh my God. 6 guys in the corner and just explode.
There was literally some hockey skate company that was going to try to implement into the NHL heated skate blades, so they would cut through the ice better.
Oh wow.
Do these idiots not understand how a hockey rink works?
No.
Well, right. They also realized that to do this, they would need to like have these heaters like on the bench.
Yeah.
And it wasn't going to work is what they eventually figured out. But it was backed by Wayne Gretzky, and like they had this whole thing that they were going to do to like make essentially like rocket skates and like
Yeah, and then there was the
guys.
I mean I kind of wish that would have happened for a season or two. That could have been our generation's like Cooperalls.
Yeah.
Ours was the glow puck, when the puck would break in half.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? I miss the glow puck.
I mean,
they're fucking terrible. I can't believe anybody thought that was a good idea.
Just imagine the hit that Chara put on Pacioretty years ago. If they were wearing those like rocket skates, Pacioretty's head would have blasted off. Like, he would have been decapitated.
I mean, if you're going for ultimate speed and all that, you've got to be willing to take the consequences that come with that.
I'm just imagining the first time someone's rocket skates melt all the way through the ice, and they're just like
skating on
the concrete underneath the ice.
They're just like learning at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice thing is, though, because the skates would have been hot, it would have cauterized any wound. So, I mean, if he slapped
that's
some guys,
true.
Oh, what was the guy that with the neck thing? You could have just
Malarchuk.
Yeah, right.
Clint Malarchuk, he would have been fine. Just a couple minutes. He was like, yeah, let it. I'm good, guys.
Let it cool off a little bit. I'm right back out there again.
They skate out with a blowtorch and just kind of finish it off there. And all right, we're good. Let's pick up.
You know what? That was probably the true miracle on ice, if we want to be honest about it. That guy didn't die, really. But I digress.
There's been a few times over the years, and it's been really understated. There was a game, and you guys may have it on the tip of your tongue. I think it was the Florida Panthers were playing somebody, and it was a weird hit in the corner with scrumming guys, and one of them did something of a cartwheel, and the skate came within like millimeters of a guy's throat. I mean, I just, as I was watching, I was like, if a breeze blew through the arena and pushed him just a little bit further, that guy's throat would have sprayed all over like 10 guys. and probably the official, and it would have been the most fucked up thing since Malarchuk, if not more so. And it's just like, how has this not happened more? Watching, especially with like, there's a really cool photo somebody posted on Twitter, of course, of it's probably from the 50s or 60s NHL, and really, really cool photograph, beautiful uniforms and everything like that. But none of them were wearing helmets, and it just baffles me that like more people weren't murdered or not murdered.
The thing that really blows my mind as someone who has played goalie, goaltender before, is like, oh yeah, for decades goalies just didn't wear masks, and I'm amazed at this. Like of course I'm aware that that's true, but like it blows my mind that this happened. Like how could I cannot comprehend playing goaltender without wearing a mask. It is it seems suicidal.
I'm surprised, and maybe I don't know hockey history pre-mask, but I'm amazed that we don't know that there aren't like banners hanging all over the place. Like, this guy died.
No, like that's the crazy thing is that like you'd think you'd have all these goalies who were killed, and you really don't. So,
well, those are the baddest dudes that ever played sports, as far as I'm concerned, man. Because Jesus, to go out there, I don't know, they hit the puck as hard, I don't know, but you got that shit flying at your face, and there's nothing there. I remember Jerry Cheevers used to put the stitch marks when he started wearing a mask where the puck had hit him.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like something out of a fucking horror movie. There was so many stitches all over it. I don't know. But yeah,
in the chat there, I dropped in the thermoblades.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you.
You got it, Andy. You want me to do it?
I got it. $400 for these things. I mean, for hockey skates,
just the blade.
Just the blade. I'm sorry.
Not for the actual boot.
For hockey, like equipment, I feel like that's pretty.
Hockey equipment's pricey.
We ready?
Yeah, I got it here. So there's a thermal blade there. Now I love the description. After 5 years of development and millions of dollars, it's just like, are you trying to guilt me into buying one of these because you've
wasted millions of dollars on this stupid thing? So
that's the Elite Master Pack, by the way. That's not just your garden variety thermal blade there. That's the Elite Master Pack.
I can't tell if there's any other thermoblade. Let's see if there's any other.
No, I think that's like the main one. But basically, there's like a battery in these things that would keep them warm. Some sort of ion battery.
Yeah, lithium-ion battery for 75 minutes of on-ice time. Charges less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
And I went to look. Apparently, there were 4 NHL players that were testing them, like in regular season games, just to see if they were working, or if it would be something to like invest in. Wayne Gretzky backed the project. Like it was a whole deal.
Wow.
And they just found that like they weren't really worth it, and they were also just too not cost.
Like I don't know. I feel that if this had happened on any sort of large scale, just Murphy's Law would have kicked in at some point, and like the ice would have melted away, or someone's foot would have blown off, or like eventually
melt a big hole in the ice. People can trip
like having like battery powered heated hockey skate blades sounds like a really bad idea.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, needless to say, it did not take off, but you can find them online. Like they're around if you really want a pair of thermal blade skates.
Yeah, but like, where do you charge them?
Well, they're batteries. You have to replace
like
them.
Your phone, you plug them into the wall with a little USB thing.
Because I'm just thinking if like there's like a charging station that you have to like put on the bench, like you're just gonna get laughed at pickup.
Yeah, it's I still don't understand the logic.
Hey, why are you dragging ass today, Gordy? Oh, my battery ran out on my skates. I can't go.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy who sucks wind because your rocket powered skate battery died.
So I found an ESPN article from years ago about the inventor of these, and that this was not his only invention. For a brief time, he also was pushing lead weighted pucks. And so he
why?
I don't know. Let's see. He had a truck loaded with 1,000 pucks, a kettle, and 20 pounds of lead fishing weights that he stole from his grandfather's garage. And he melted them over a raging bonfire before a park ranger kicked him out of the area. And so he hauled out hockey pucks and filled them with molten lead. And his idea was that they would make it's like using a weight on the bat to kind of swing the bat, only to push the puck a little harder. But the problem was it sticks with fucking shatter when you try to hit it.
Yeah,
the puck is fucking heavy.
Because lead's heavy and hockey sticks are light. Jesus.
Wow.
Oh man, I love the idea that he just camped out in some park and it was just melting hockey pucks down until a ranger told him, like, "Hey, now there, you got to get out, okay?"
And he stole the
lead from his dad's garage.
Oh yeah, I found this story. I'm like just kind of swiping through it. Some interesting tidbits. When he was trying to figure out how to start making these skates, he would freeze ice sheets on his wife's like cookie sheets, they use for baking. Yeah. And then he rigged a device to warm the blade using an electrical cord plugged into a kitchen outlet, and it would catch on fire. Before he perfected the technology at some point.
I'm guessing this guy like had a bunch of mercury in his garage or workshop or whatever, and just like
breathed stream.
Yeah, just breathed in the fumes and just got like the Mad Hatter poisoning, where he just slowly went insane. And oh, by the way, you guys have to stop pasting these horrible like jogging pants. Jesus, what are you guys trying to do to me over here? We have a little chat going where Mike and Zach have both put these just god awful.
Those are the corporals.
Those are Mike.
That's those.
Me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are the Hartford Whalers and Cooperalls.
Yeah, the Cooperall trend from the '80s, where where two NHL teams decided to look like idiots for 2 years.
I remember when they announced those fucking things, and I'm like, that looks stupid. Here we go.
The most dangerous part was they would fall on the ice and slide all the way into the end boards.
Yeah, that's why they got rid of them.
Thank goodness they weren't wearing the new technology. They would have slid so fast they would have exploded on impact.
Oh god,
if they were wearing thermal blades and Cooperalls at the same time.
Thermal blades, Cooperalls, and Addy Zero jerseys. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
I mean, look at these fucking losers. They look so stupid. Like it looks like somebody's drunk dad got on the ice and is like, "Here, I'll show him how to play. Look at me." Like this, and this looks like
a uniform looks like.
No, he looks like an official who had to borrow a jersey or something. That's embarrassing. That's yeah.
Cooper's figure skater.
What was that? When did they do that? 76, I think. Was that the year?
82.
Oh, was it 82? Was that okay?
It was like 81. It was like the 81, 82 to 82, 83.
I saw it. I think Sports Illustrated did a little blurb on it, and I thought that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. They look terrible. Because at first you're going, maybe it'll work. Then you see it, you're like, oh my god, it looks awful. Yeah, Cooperalls. So it was what, the Whalers and the Flyers, right? Were the two teams?
The Flyers had it for 2 years. The Whalers jumped on the last year before the NHL outlawed them for being unsafe.
Because it was such a wild success for the Flyers, right? The Whalers were like, we got to get in on this, man. No wonder
the Whalers were betting it was the wave of the future, and they'd get in on the ground floor. And
then that's why they're playing in Carolina now, because of like that. I don't know. We got an episode of Bussin' Zeke, or whatever the fuck it's called. This
Yeet Bussin' or Big Jags. No, I don't have it ready. I had a weird day today, and I didn't have time to put them together.
Right.
But
I said earlier, I stole.
Well, let's use the pictures we've got. That's some Cooperalls.
Big yikes! Big yikes to all the Cooperalls.
I stole this from a podcast to listen to. I would give them proper attribution, but I damned if I can remember which one I heard it on. It was just 2 questions that they asked, which I thought were interesting questions. And if you guys want to, I'll throw them out there real quick. Okay.
Why not?
First question. You find a working time machine. You can go anywhere into the future that you would like to go. Where do you go?
The future.
Can't go in the past. Got to be the future. How far do you go?
You go to the year 2015 so I can ride a hoverboard.
That's
a Back to the Future joke.
I got it.
I don't know, man. I mean, like, because I feel like I'd want to go, like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to go too far because after you get too far, you have no frame of reference for anything.
Exactly.
Humanity may just be gone, which could be a cool thing. You know, if you like went like 200, 300 years in the future and you're just surrounded by ruins, you know, and be like, okay,
unless the primates took over and they see you, and well, it could get ugly pretty fast. If you,
I have to wonder, like, is like if I'm going off of the Back to the Future example, right? Like he only went 30 years ahead or backwards, right?
Yeah.
And enough changed in that time to where, you know, it was pretty wild. I mean, it's fictional. Obviously, we still don't have hoverboards and, you know, flying cars and whatever.
No, but you know what? I think other than that, I think the technology, what would have been 2015, was probably further advanced than what they thought it would be at that point.
Well, when they were making that movie, they intentionally dialed up the futurism because they knew that it wasn't going to be. Because I think that when they were researching for how to do the future parts of the movie, they were like, well, this isn't really going to be probably all that different, but they wanted to make it seem very distinctly the future with all sorts of weird stuff.
I'd go, you know what? I'd go 100 years into the future just to see if this plane gets pulled out of the tailspin or not.
I was thinking 200 years, so I'm kind of all on the same lines, Mike. Like 200 years where it might still be recognizable enough that I would be able to navigate it, but still far enough ahead that it's not going to be anything like it is now, just to see what happened and where we are.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, because at a certain point you can't go too far because then the language will evolve too, right? So you can't like read or talk.
Yeah, and we're having trouble with the way the kids 16-year-olds talk right now, so I couldn't imagine 200 years from now.
Oh, I think in 200 years they'll still be bussing.
I don't know. I'd probably go like 20.
Everyone will just speak via emoji.
Yeah, we're assuming they'll even be talking at that point. It'll all be text with emojis and that. Yeah.
Actually, there's actually an interesting. I read something probably within the last couple of years about how emojis are indeed an international form of language because it's it's complete. It's ubiquitous through all.
Yeah.
Through all things. So like there are books that are, you know, written in emojis, like rewritten in emojis. It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Like you can get the Moby Dick that's completely emojis and it would mostly make sense.
Are you telling me this works better than Esperanto did?
Esperanto,
isn't that crazy?
That's the crazy language that Ferdy
from the 70s. I think they wanted to make this language called Esperanto, where it would be the world language. It was fucking idiotic. I'm sure Spectrum Cable came up with it, but
it's what our good friend Caesar Federano or whatever.
Ferdinand Cesaro, I think.
Cesaro, that's it. Mike's got it. Yes. And then if you guys want to, this could kind of lead us into another discussion that we could have. You get to form one sports league that doesn't exist right now, and it can be any sport. You can add like a new baseball league or whatever. Which one would you pick and why?
The American Handball Association.
Okay.
European handball, like that shit in the Olympics. I love
that's. I'll have you know that Mac the Knife, tried to put that together, and I'm sure he owns the trademarks, and he will sue you.
Yes, I will sue the I Don't Care Corporation or whatever the hell it
was. I'm pretty sure he's so far gone on Ambien by now that he put it together. He's reading it right now going, this is a fucking good idea. He wrote it.
Get out of my way.
I think you watch that sport in the Olympics every 4 years, and I think if you had some top American athletes that like committed themselves to learn how to do this sport, we'd kick everyone's ass, and it would be so good.
Oh my! You don't just do that. Let someone else have something.
No, I understand, but this isn't like everyone has used the same argument for soccer for years, but it's a little bit different because that's like still kind of a specialized sport. Handball is literally like it's like basketball and like dodgeball and you just need an all-around athlete that can catch and throw. And
I'm pretty sure handball is something that like every gym teacher just has the kids play. If they don't have a lesson plan ready.
Here's some red bouncy balls.
Here's 2 hockey nets and a red bouncy ball. Have fun.
Did you ever do archery in phys ed?
No
No.
I'm thinking about it now.
No, they weren't going to let us have bows and arrows.
You send us out in the fucking field. We all had weapons, lethal weapons. I swear to God.
Oh,
we could have had somebody decided, hey, you know what? Fuck these guys. We could have taken out like half the teaching staff just with shooting them with arrows and shit. I don't know.
Let's see. I don't know. Like, I feel like football is such the obvious answer because Jesus, like, how many alternate football leagues have tried to pop up over the last 3 years? Apparently, the USFL is coming back, so that's
what I wanted to use this to lead into. Yeah.
So I'm not going to say football. You know what? Fuck it. If I could start any, sports league doesn't exist, I'd restart the WHA.
Wow, you stole my thunder completely, dude.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd either do the WHA or try to start a third major league and muscle my way into MLB alongside the AL and NL.
Fuck. All right. Well, I've got nothing now.
I would probably have to go with either wiffle ball, kickball, or bags or cornhole. I mean, I'm sure there's leagues for all these things, but I mean, there's
cornhole. Yeah.
I would love to watch like a no bullshit like traveling national group of guys go head on head and like kickball be fucking cool.
So fun thing about kickball, you want to know what an alternate name for it is in Ontario?
Man.
Soccer baseball.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Hey.
That's dumb.
Don't. Hey.
It's just kickball. I mean,
you kick the ball. It's kickball.
Yeah,
there's no soccer net. The only soccer about it is that you're kicking it. It's kickball.
Hey.
I mean, I guess you could use a soccer ball to play kickball, but it hurt the shit out of your hands, though.
Yeah, no, you're supposed to use
a dodgeball.
A dodgeball, like some dumb rubbery
those big
ball.
bouncy balls that
big red ball.
The big red ball. I don't even know what you call it.
I guess another one that might actually be fun, and I don't know, like capture the flag, maybe, but it's got to be like tackle.
Professional capture the flag would be pretty intense. I would be down to watch that.
You know what I'm bringing back? I'm bringing back slam ball. Remember slam ball?
Oh, yeah. What are the trampolines?
A few ideas. Yeah.
Wasn't that on?
It was on USA. It was on USA. It was on before Raw.
I remember it was always the lead into Raw for like a few years.
I mean, it had its moments, and it was interesting to watch. But I mean, the problem is it's so confined. Like you're in a really small area, and I mean, it's interesting. Oh, LMU there, Pro Beach roller hockey. I definitely watched some roller hockey.
Oh yeah. Does anyone remember there were two roller hockey leagues. There was the Pro Beach one, and then there was like the International Roller Hockey League.
Roller Hockey International that they played in a bunch of NHL arenas.
Yeah.
And then there was Pro Beach Roller Hockey, which was just on the beach here in California. And that's where we had our beloved salsa.
Roller Hockey International, I remember for primarily one reason, and that is because one year when I was in Montreal visiting my grandparents, I saw a Montreal Roadrunners jersey in a store, and I didn't get it.
Dude.
I could have.
I had an Anaheim Bullfrogs roller hockey ball at one point. I remember. They were the roller hockey international.
I mean, I could have had a Montreal Roadrunners roller hockey jersey, and I unfortunately passed that up, and I have to live with that mistake every day.
I'm honestly surprised there hasn't been like a roller hockey kind of startup thing in the last few years. I feel like it's time for it to kind of re-enter circulation into what's cool.
I mean, if you think about it, roller hockey was one of the most 90s things that you could that possibly existed, and we're entering that period where 90s nostalgia is taking off again. So like, come on, let's do it.
It's the perfect opportunity to put a team in Denver and call it the Rocky Mountain Extreme.
Yep.
It would have fit for roller hockey.
Was there more questions?
No, that was it. Just those two.
Well, okay. I guess you wanted to talk about the USFL.
Yeah, it's
I
coming
can't
back.
believe this.
Okay.
Literally.
It's using the same logo that it used back in the 80s.
Mhm.
And
Apparently, they have a bunch of trademarks to some old teams.
right.
So.
And unfortunately, which I find this shocking, to be honest, Birmingham's not one of the teams.
Well,
You know what? Fuck it. There's going to be a Birmingham team. I don't
know that you can make this can't be legitimate without one.
I mean, I can't even. Who was Birmingham's USFL team again?
The Stallions.
Oh, okay.
The Dallas Stallions are now the trademark name. So Birmingham got moved to Dallas, it looks like.
Well, fuck it. Where's you? The people of Birmingham need to step up, like Cleveland did when the Browns moved. They fought to keep that history. Let's mobilize.
I agree. But
they're coming out of the gates with Fox Sports as a broadcast partner, and it's like, where does this come from?
It's so weird. It's just out of nowhere.
Well, you know where it comes from. It's honestly the XFL's 2019-2020 thing. I think it really showed that you could have success. Like there's a lot
isn't that the XFL's coming back next year?
Yeah,
but I mean they still with the Rock kind of. I just don't know if the XFL is going to be able to I don't think you're going to get another startup of the XFL to be successful this quily again.
They're partnering with the Canadian Football League.
You want to know what I think? Okay, here's what I think happened. I think Andy's right that the XFL, I mean, look, as much as we like dunking on the XFL, in fairness, it died because of the COVID pandemic, not because the ratings were shit or anything like that. The ratings, for what it was actually they were actually pretty strong. And you've got to think that if you are and Fox Sports was one of the XFL broadcasters. So you've got to think that if you're Fox Sports and you look at this and you go, okay, well, the XFL proved that this could work. But whether it's uncertainty about the XFL due to ownership, whether or not they think The Rock can pull it off, or maybe it's just a desire to have more control over the product, someone at Fox was probably like, we should try this again, but this time with a league we have an ownership stake in. And that's what fueled this. But the thing about it that strikes me as odd, and I'm kind of coming from the same perspective Zach is, where it's kind of like, where did this come from? Is that it's that this thing is supposed to start up in less than a year. And we saw from both the AAF and the XFL 2.0 that you kind of need to give yourself enough time to get everything up and running properly with something like this.
Because the XFL, I mean, they took a phased approach to opening things up. Where they had the announcement, and then they waited to even tell you who the teams were.
Yeah. And
then they were still waiting more time after that to actually start the league. So sorry, I didn't want to cut
No, you're absolutely right. In almost any other situation, I would look at something like this. Out of nowhere, someone just announces the USFL's back, and I would have said, this is either a hope and a prayer project or someone scamming someone. Like that's what this reads as. But the kicker is that they have Fox Sports backing, and that's really, really strange to me, because that's legitimate. That this is a multi-billion-dollar multimedia company that is straight up saying we'll back you financially. We'll buy a piece of this league, and it's just so odd because this seems so slapdash, and yet they've got a really big player already signed up. So
you know what?
I don't know.
I think too that maybe Fox is looking at it and thinking, the XFL, it was pretty successful last year, but it's still got it's the quote unquote XFL, they still think of the old version of it. I think Fox may be falling into the same trap a lot of people fall into, remembering the USFL to being a little more successful than it actually was. So trying to catch in on some brand equity here, because there's a group on Facebook that thinks the USFL it's just if it comes back, it will dwarf the NFL. It's like,
no,
completely delusional. First off, But yeah, I wonder if that's part of it. And then I wonder if there's a nostalgia angle. But then I'm looking at it going, well, the league was over by what, 85? So
I wasn't even alive by then.
1983 to 1985.
So
the history of the XFL is a bright shooting star.
So my point is somebody
the world, they were too fair for this world.
That's the way it's treated, which is complete and utter nonsense. But somebody that was a huge fan of the NFL and that sweet demo spot back then is my age today.
Okay,
and nobody's marketing shit to anybody my age. I can promise
the counter thing to that is that, and this is just me purely playing devil's advocate, because this whole thing has confused me more than it's excited me. Because this has all the hallmarks of a failure, yet Fox is involved somehow, but whatever. But my devil's advocate position to that would be like, there's a lot of shit from the mid 80s that has been mined successfully for nostalgia. You know, over like, how many G.I. Joe and Transformers movies have there been over the last 10 years?
Stranger Things on Netflix, which is
Stranger Things. The 80s nostalgia boom doesn't seem like it's gonna die. So
hell, we're getting another G.I. Joe movie this year.
Yeah, Snake Eyes Origins, because that's something that I wanted to see. Apparently,
you guys. I mean, you weren't even around for it. Would you are outside, like, setting aside the goofiness of it and how it's kind of popped up out of nowhere? But let's say that it comes out and it's as well organized. The AAF was well organized. It wasn't well funded. I thought they did a good job. They just didn't have any money. XFL just got screwed by a once in a lifetime event. So,
well, no, COVID was God smiting Vince McMahon for his arrogance. Like, okay. You didn't learn this the first time, old man. Like,
but that aside, like if it's as well organized as those two leagues, you guys who really only are familiar with it through historical stuff, are you interested in it? Setting aside the weirdness of it, just from the pure like retro vibe that it's going to be throwing off.
No, because I think the thing that made the USFL the thing it was then was the fact that they were able to get players.
Yeah.
And
this isn't going to do that.
This is going to be the AAF in USFL uniforms.
Well,
right.
See, I'm actually gonna say I would be interested, but I would put a caveat saying that I'm well aware that I am not probably representative of a broader demographic. I'm probably representative of a niche demographic, because one, I like retro stuff, and two, I like 80s aesthetics, and three, I'm a uniform nerd person. So like stuff like even though the USFL died before I was born, it's still something like I'm aware of, and I've done like the occasional deep dive into the uniform history, so I'm aware of it. And by all accounts, they're putting a team in Tampa, like they're bringing the Bandits back.
Wow.
So it's, and for the AAF, I went to games for both the AAF's Orlando Apollos and the XFL's Tampa Bay Vipers, and those were pretty laid back, fun time. And so hypothetically,
if I'm down there next winter and the Bandits are playing, I'm going to a game.
Hypothetically, if the USFL came back and it was actually organized in anything resembling the XFL and AAF, and if it had the money behind it to make it viable, I'd go to a game or two just to check it out.
I think simply if they're just trying to simply sell me on the USFL, come see it, that's not enough. Like, no, they kind of have to do something special, and they can't just be like, well, we're a competent organization. No.
The one thing about
something else to it
that's different from the AAF or the XFL, what the USFL was, they came out and it wasn't for an alternate football league. It's like, we are challenging the NFL. Now, not right out of the gate, but it was like, we're going to be, I won't say challenging the NFL, because that's what the spring league made. That's why they went with the spring. They're like, we're going to be a major league, if redundancy aside, but we're going to be major league. We're not like the AAF, which was like a developmental league. That's what they wanted it to develop into, or the XFL. We are going to be right there, NFL, USFL, in Major League Baseball, the NHL, NBA, etc. That was their goal. It never got there, but maybe that's the difference this time. I don't know, maybe they're just saying, hey, we're just going to be like the AAF with better uniforms. I don't know.
Now, I mean, I'm just going to post this in the private chat. How can you not love this?
Oh, yeah. Tampa Bay Bandits 1983 media guide with Burt fucking Reynolds there.
Yeah. How does that not get you hyped for?
No, that's awesome. Yeah, look at that. There you go.
But I mean, no, like
it's Turd Ferguson. He's wearing a funny hat.
yeah, exactly. Right? Well, what more do you need?
I do think though that had you've all seen the Small Potatoes, but if what was his name, John Bassett, was that the guy's name that ran the Bandits?
Mhm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But he ended up getting brain cancer and dying. But if they had followed that guy's lead, I think they would have had something.
Well, he was the only guy who understood how this had to work. Like he's
Right.
like the only guy who understood. Like, hey, if you want this to work, here's what you got to do.
Wait, followed his lead and gotten brain cancer?
Well, no,
no, not that part.
no. Maybe.
Oh, that
I
guy's lead.
think I said if he hadn't gotten cancer and if they'd followed his lead. But
Okay, sorry.
But like, I don't know, like with the
all
old,
of you to brain cancer, all of you.
with the USFL, like, and the Tampa Bay Bandits had a pretty nice identity too. So as I don't know if the USFL came back and if it wasn't like a shit show and if Tampa had a team and it was the Bandits, like that's enough stuff coming together for me to go like, yeah, I'll check it out. And hey, you know what? The Vipers had this problem with Raymond James Stadium, right? Where it's like their colors were bright green and gold, but the stadium was decked out in buck shit, so it was all like red and pewter and black. Bandits were red, black, and silver. So if they played at Ray J, wouldn't be that much of a clash.
I want you to take a close look at those Bandits uniforms.
Yeah, they're OSU.
Okay, I was going to say because a lot of people they go, wait a minute, fuck, those are Ohio State uniforms with the logo on the sides. Like, yeah, pretty much. I think the number fonts are different. I don't remember, but
I wanted to mention the cool idea, by the way. I think that I just kind of read when I was browsing around looking for stuff about this. Is you have your XFL/CFL stuff, and then you have the USFL. I think it'd be pretty cool if at the end of the season, the winner of the XFL playoffs went against the winner of the USFL playoffs, and you had a mini kind of informal B-League championship. I think it'd be pretty kick-ass.
Just so what happened? Okay, so if it's the XFL, we got to work some wrestling in here. Does that mean that at the end of the USFL XFL championship game, the CFL Grey Cup champions get to cash in their money in the bank and challenge the winning team?
Oh, out of nowhere, it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders with a chair.
the Everton Elks are here in their new look.
By God, that's Henry Burris's music. He's out there with Mark Franklin.
By God, is that O Canada?
Stone Cold. Okay.
They start playing the Canadian national anthem.
I will never understand.
Yeah, the Calgary Stampeders come out with Bret Hart as their coach, and
I just don't understand why they don't let us on sports. It would be so much better, so much better.
And of course, in this scenario, right? This impromptu championship game scenario, the gorilla rule is in effect.
Absolutely. Now we're talking.
One untamed silverback gorilla just roaming the field.
Only an extra points, though, Mike. Remember, we've got to keep it
for extra points. Okay.
Keep the integrity of the idea in place.
Like fourth quarter, and fucking Rush starts playing, and it's like, oh shit! And like, Alanis Morissette comes out.
It's Tom Sawyer. Here come the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be. I don't know the affiliation of the XFL and the CFL, what they're even going to do.
Well, it's really weird because people have been saying, everything from like a straight up merger to the champions play each other. But the thing that kind of breaks that down, the thing that kind of kills those suggestions is that the seasons are almost opposite of each other. Like they don't play at the same time. So I'm not sure how any kind of merger or even shared championship game would work between the XFL and the CFL.
Oh, dude, we just described how it's got to work. Only one way to do this.
But the thing that I have seen, brandied about as a realistic situation would be some kind of talent pool sharing, like teams send guys, across the border one way or another during each other's off season to, get more reps in, get more exposure, experience. The other thing that I've heard is simply that the leagues will remain separate, but it would be easier for both of them financially if they merged under like a common corporate umbrella.
It just sounds, that's a lot of red tape. I get the talent pool thing and the contract stuff. I could see something like that happening to where there's some sort of a mutually agreed upon waiver system and kind of an underbelly among the player movements and stuff. The one thing that you can't have is guys being, called up, so to speak, in the middle. You can't do that. You
can't have guys playing like 25 games of football a year or 30 games of football a year. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Well, I just mean more of like if you establish, let's say like you're in the spring league, you're like 6 games in, and there's a guy who's clearly just tearing the USFL up, and then they're like, whatever, the Detroit Lions come in and say we want to sign this guy to a big ass contract on the condition that he quits playing right now, and because we want him healthy for training camp and stuff, and then that guy's just done. Like you can't. I feel like that is something you really got to be careful about because you won't survive.
The thing about people who always say like, oh, spring football can exist as a minor league, and that was the AAF's goal, and I guess that was also the XFL 2.0's goal to a degree. But the problem that people always seem to forget is that the Major League Baseball, minor league baseball relationship is something that has existed for like over a century at this point. The system in place is one where like all the kinks got worked out like 50 years ago. If not further back. So when people start talking about, this insert spring league could be a good, minor league for the NFL, you have to account for exactly what Andy said. You have to account for the fact that if this system exists, NFL teams might start poaching all the best players just right off the bat, and if that happens, you're not going to survive because you do need some star power. You need someone who players who fans will want to pay to see, and unless you're willing to lay out some really firm ground rules about how transfers work right out of the gate, it's going to be something that's going to take time to work out. And I'm not sure that these leagues have time, considering that they're already trying to factor in the fact that they're going to lose millions for at least 5 years. So it's a really dicey situation, and I'm not sure that just completely, trying to cozy up to the NFL as soon as possible is even in their best interests.
No, their best interest is having the championship we talked about. But you're right. It could get really weird with the because like if the NFL sees a player and they go, this guy can help us, like Andy said, they're gonna yank him out of there. That's gonna be it. That'll be the end of it.
Did we have that at all in the AAF or XFL though? I don't think that we ever.
Well, both of those leagues did have people who ended up getting NFL roster spots.
That's different, but there wasn't like a guy pulled out after 4 weeks that was like, "Oh shit, this guy's actually really good."
But at the same time, though, like both those leagues only lasted less than a season. I think this is a hypothetical situation where if a spring league were able to establish itself, and then they were able to start a working relationship with the NFL, then that might start becoming a problem.
But another thing too that on that is like there were a couple guys. One guy in particular, I remember, he played most of a season for the USFL, and then he went straight out of that in July, straight into training camp with the NFL. And by like the 12th NFL game, he was really, he had played too much football. He was starting to have like internal bleeding issues. and just things that you have to put a limit. I mean, again, the guy can do what he wants.
You can only be in so many car crashes in a year.
Right, exactly. But it didn't happen often with the NFL. But there was a guy that played out his USFL contract. He was done at the end of it. Went straight into NFL camp and played 30 football games that year. And by the 12th game in the NFL season, he was just breaking down physically. It was not an injury, just his body was like, fuck it, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting.
Yeah. I don't think, it's not a major concern. I don't think especially because it is kind of a second. No matter what, you can sit there and promote the shit. This is the real NFL, is real big man football. No, the best players are going to the NFL.
Yep.
And you're just, while you will get some talented players, I would hope that they would do their best to make these guys understand should this league, let's say it lasts at least 2-3 years, gets somewhat established. You have guys that succeed, that become, quote unquote stars, to where it's you guys cannot, you might see that contract offer from the Chiefs or whatever and feel like you're going to be part of something big, but it's you're going to be a practice squad, probably bubble, you're not going to, you're a big fish in a small pond right now. Just appreciate that and stay where you are, because you're not going to make the kind of money.
Sometimes it pays to be a big fish in a small pond. Yeah. And do you really want to take that Jacksonville Jaguars offer sheet just to get cut in favor of Tim Tebow?
Right.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Zach.
Oh no, I was just going to say, I think the only way that any competitive, any spring or alternate league could be any sort of threat to the NFL business model is if they allow underage players or, pre-college graduate players to play in their league.
Like freshman, sophomore level type thing?
College, yes. Make
the NBA, basically.
A true minor league football where you get, where you're paying those top, what would be college players to play in your league. And then they use that as the exposure to, maybe make it to the NFL or make their own pile of cash in this league. That's the only way.
And I mean, and
make any sort of dent.
And I mean, there is something. I think there is something of a business model there, because you can hypothetically go to these kids and go hey, they're not going to pay you in college, but we will.
Or it depends on the school, Mike. Some places are going to go, well, you want to take a pay cut to leave Ohio State to come play for us, because that's really what it's going to be.
It'd be. I think it'd be pretty cool to have a bunch of guys who are 18, 19, 20 years old who are,
well, not only
go to town.
Yeah, but if you
it's dangerous though. You can't just have an 18-year-old. Yeah, but having an 18-year-old go up against a 35-year-old linebacker.
I don't know. Maybe the same thing. Is he'd be faster.
That 8th grade dude that we saw the picture of the other day. Fuck, he's the best player in the USFL right now. If he wants to go play there.
Just by the way, real quick update for you for those who are watching the NBA playoffs. The Brooklyn Nets. It's about halftime. They are up 63-38 against the Bucks.
Oh, so not having James Harden is not a problem at all.
No, yeah, they're fine.
Go fuck the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I mean, when Andy was dealing with delinquents trying to buy a couch and Mike was gone, but Greg and I basically declared that this is the most fake ass team that has ever existed. Just completely inorganic and artificial and.
Well, the thing that I'm fearing, honestly, is a Nets Clippers final.
What a vacant, dead final that would be.
Because you have the Nets wearing black all of the time that they could get away with it, playing on that black and white court, and then they go to Clippers home court, and they're going to be wearing the Compton Grand Theft Auto jerseys, which are all black and white, against a black and white floor, and it will look like garbage.
It will look like garbage, and
it will be completely inauthentic to any sort of fan experience.
It would be inauthentic. It would
completely created out of thin air versus a team that was sort of created out of thin air with a completely vacant personality.
Both these teams have vacant personalities. Nothing about any of these teams is has a soul at all. It's.
I was trying to describe when Zach and I were talking about it. what it is about the Nets that makes them seem so much worse than all the other big three super teams that have been put together over the years. I think they're just too brazen about it. Like
I think it's the Kevin Durant effect part of it, because Kevin Durant is just a front running piece of shit that basically goes wherever he's going to get a ring. And I mean, I'm nothing to disparage the guy too much. I mean, he's obviously an incredibly talented player, probably going to be a Hall of Famer. But you have James Harden, bitch. Kyrie Irving, another bitch. Blake Griffin, awesome, but the guy's made of glass. DeAndre Jordan.
I mean,
I'm not a bitch, but they're just unlikable. A bunch of unlikable douchebags who got together and said,
James Harden wore a fat suit to get out of Houston.
And again, like, talented guy, like James Harden, incredibly talented, one of the best regular season scorers ever. I don't know. They're just a bunch of assholes, and I don't think they merit anything beyond. I mean, if they want to get a ring, fuck it, fine, whatever. It doesn't mean nothing, When you win a ring like that, it just cheapens the shit out of it. It's like the Miami Heat, who gives a fuck?
And you want to know what? And you'll want to know what? Nets, if you would have won one during the Jason Kidd years, that'd be something else. But no, not this time.
Fuck Jason Kidd too. I thought it. Jason Kidd, man. I like Jason Kidd a lot as a player. And what a candy ass as a coach. The whole like run into me, bump into me, I've got a soda. What a fucking loser that guy turned out to be. And he's already come out and been like, what team was it? He immediately Blazers. He's like, I'm taking myself out of the running for the
hey,
Blazers.
nobody asked, right?
And the Blazers fans are all like, shit, yeah, good. Fuck you. We don't want you around here. I don't know. The Nets, again, like I don't. There's a whole debate about the NBA, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who religiously watch and adore the NBA that don't care about this. But when you just have, like we've discussed, inorganic, just bring in spend the money, max out these youth contracts, bring in the stars, win a title. Yeah. There's nothing feels earned or achieved about that. Yeah. But I mean, they'll be like, "Oh, you go back in the '90s. I mean, what do you think the Jordan Bulls did? What do you think the Lakers did?"
Well, right. I think we brought that up when we were talking. Greg and I were like it to a degree that is the way of business now in the NBA, but there is just something extra
oily.
Something just. I'm trying to think of the right word.
There's a word for what they are.
I'm gonna put this out here. My hot take: the Toronto Raptors championship team was not nearly as artificially constructed as this.
Exactly. But that's the thing.
Like they had the bones of a team, and they just added Kawhi Leonard with a good trade. Right, it wasn't a free agent thing.
Yeah,
it was a trade.
Well, wait. So what do you compare that with the Warriors with Durant?
No,
Durant
the Warriors championships pre-Durant were fine. The Warriors with Durant.
Okay.
I mean, but again, that's also similar, where it's like you have this team and then Durant comes on to like win a ring on there. I don't have a problem with those championships either, really.
The Durant thing going to the Warriors to me was like if Larry Bird had joined the '80s Lakers. It's like, okay, you're going to win, but I don't know. I mean, what the fuck do I care? He gets his ring. That's good for him, and that's what he wanted. And who am I to say? I just something about that just doesn't. It just seems
right. Well, because before it's not like they built this piece by piece. Like they cleared out the cap space and just added Kyrie and Durant, and then they traded for Harden, and that was it. Yeah. They were a blank slate that they put these pieces into. And yes, you could say like, well, the Lakers were terrible for years to clear space for LeBron. And yes, but the Lakers also still had to build the rest of the goddamn team. They weren't just LeBron carrying them to victory every single night. They still had to put together the rest of the team, and they did. And they still needed to make a trade, which they made with guys that they developed to get Anthony Davis. And they still want, like, yes, LeBron and Anthony Davis, obviously the main reasons why they win, but they also don't win if they don't have guys like Alex Caruso or Kyle Kuzma or whatever. You look at like this Brooklyn team, and it's like you just all the guys they bought. That's what's working. It's And
looks.
yes, we've had the super teams before. We've had the Miamis, we had the Bostons, but like there is something completely morally vacant about what this is.
That's it. Morally vacant's a good description of it.
It feels like a friend of yours is you like load up their file. They're playing NBA 2K or something, and you see that I'm playing as the Nets, and it's like, dude, you traded for like some of the best players in the league because it's a video game. Well, yeah, I want to play with the best. Like, how empty is that shit? You know, win a title with guys you groom and shape and your own stars. But that's just dead. That's not what basketball is anymore, I guess. It's not how it works and hasn't for years, I suppose.
No. And again, it's kind of the cost of business in the NBA. Like that's how you build winning teams. Like you can have like hell, you can look at Utah. They've made a number 1 seed, and the Phoenix, you know, all that's in Denver. Organic teams, sure. They're not going to win titles.
No, and they're all going to ship out. And that's what pissed me off reading about Damian Lillard probably getting dealt or moving on. It's just like, goddamn, this guy's been a superhero out in Portland, just killing legendary stuff. Just never, just hasn't pulled it off. His teams always have been just kind of coming up short and running into the buzzsaws. But I mean, like, what? Why? I don't want to see the guy go and win a title just because it's like. It sort of reminds me of the Karl Malone, Gary Payton towards the end of their careers when I went to the Lakers. It was very sad just watching those two guys. They're past their prime, go to the Lakers, just shamble around like, well, yeah, we're here for a title. Like we want it's our turn, holding out their hands, ring please. Right. And they didn't win shit, and that's how it should be. But now it's more of like these guys aren't going to waste their primes for the most part on these lesser teams. They'll eventually just end up where they want anyway. I guess I should respect that and appreciate that because, I mean, who the fuck am I to tell them what to do? But it just feels like it cheapens the entire trophy. It doesn't mean nearly as much.
Like, if it does end up being Brooklyn Clippers, because, like, I mean, it's as much as I want somebody else to make it out of the West, Utah, Denver, Phoenix, maybe. I hope that the Clippers can clipper themselves at some point in the next 2 rounds and not make it to the final.
They almost did in the first round.
They almost did, right? It's entirely possible that it can be, but like on paper, they should make it to the final.
Oh, dude, that's been the case a few times, and we know they never disappoint.
I know, but if it does happen to be Brooklyn Clippers for the final, I would not watch a single goddamn second of it. I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
No,
and. I mean, as much as I want the Clippers to lose, to not get a title, and I mean, yes, a big threat to the Lakers 17 if they get 1, but like, there's just something to the Clippers not having anything, and that's fine. But on the other hand, I don't want this just morally vacant Brooklyn thing to be rewarded.
Well, then
because if that wins, the NBA is done. To me, like in terms of like being a product to take seriously, it's gone. Like it will just continue. Like the arms race has gotten to a point where if this battleship goes and wins it, if this fully operational battle station does what it's supposed to do, then why the hell are we doing any other? Why would you be an Atlanta Hawks fan? Why would you be a Memphis Grizzlies fan? Why would you bother with the rest of it if it's just about having a team in a big city where you clear your payroll once in a while and buy your way to a title?
Yeah.
Like what is that worth?
I know that if it's Clippers,
and yes, this might sound like ironic coming from a Lakers fan, but like
a bit, yeah.
I still feel like yes, the Lakers have put a lot of money towards winning their titles, but there's also been some legitimacy to the building process of creating a team. I don't feel like even this latest championship didn't come from nowhere. Like there was a process to get there that the Nets haven't done. The Nets kept swinging. The Nets were swinging for years, making all those trades, trying to get something to happen, and it kept failing. So once they got to a point where they were just complete abject failures and they had nobody left on their roster, like literally nobody, they had to go spend all of the money and get them this. So I hope it's worth it to them.
It'd be kind of funny is if it was Clippers Nets in the final and the Clippers did win a title, Blake Griffin over there with Brooklyn Just
Oh,
like
no.
surrounded by stars, watching the fucking Clippers win a title. Just like, man, what did I?
Well, it's the NBA. If it's Clippers, Nets, I mean, I have very few fucks to give about it under normal circumstances. If it's those two, I'm like, I'm out. Although I don't, well, no, there's
No, I legitimately don't want to watch that. That sounds as unappealing as any championship series could sound.
I was trying to find a angle, like, okay, it'd be funny to watch them beat the Clippers, but not really wouldn't. It wouldn't be fun.
The only way that
because
series,
beyond like the actual basketball that we talked about, it's also all the aesthetic stuff that we mentioned.
Yeah.
the only way that series ends up being worth watching is if the Clippers have a 3-1 lead and then they blow it.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I just let's hope for like this. We still got hope. There's Sixers. There's the Suns. There's some teams that can get this done.
Yeah.
Well, the Hawks are apparently on a tear.
Yeah,
Let
makes
them
some
go.
noise. Trey Young and all that. Yeah, good for them. You know, makes them.
Good. They finally got good
Good for them.
uniforms, and now this happens. See, look,
Well, they're okay.
I like them. They're simple.
Their problem is they're an Atlanta sports team, so we know how that's going to end.
Well, yeah, and Headley will pay $100,000 or something for finals tickets.
Well,
and
that's
they'll
worth
lose.
to me.
Hopefully,
Totally worth it. Give me the Hawks as far as we can take them.
By the way, north of the border, end of one in Montreal. It's 2-0 Habs.
yeah, that's
So-
They're
over.
going to sweep my Toledo Jets right out of this thing, aren't they?
Toledo Jets.
Yeah, Winnipeg's Toledo West is the way
Oh, okay.
I mean,
I saw a picture of
the
Winnipeg.
nice thing is that the Habs won't have to actually, take up hotel rooms down in the United States to play the rest of the playoffs.
That's good for them.
Canada approved the border exemption so that NHL teams can freely move back and forth.
Well,
they can't interact with the public once they're in Canada, but
well,
they
that
can go.
that was. I mean, that's smart. Justin Trudeau doesn't want to go into an election saying he fucked up a Canadian team's chances to win the Stanley Cup.
well, let
Like,
alone
that's-
his Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah. Look, the Liberal Party can't afford to lose votes in Quebec. All right, like that's just smart politics.
Forgot what I was going to say again. Oh well. What the fuck? There was a point I wanted to make about the hockey, and I can't remember what it is now. Oh, the Toledo Jets, Mike. A couple years ago, we were doing like a playoff preview, and somebody showed a picture of Winnipeg.
Oh yeah, and you said it looked like Toledo.
Like Toledo, yeah. So there you go. That's how we get to Toledo Jets. Anyway, we got done, guys. We're closing in on the 2-hour mark here, and
I mean, I have a whole segment we can talk about of the CONCACAF Nations League, United States. Incredible extra time match against Mexico.
what sport?
I know you all saw it.
Soccer.
Oh fuck yeah!
Football, Greg. It's football.
Yeah.
Get into the Patreon part of the
Guys.
show for that as well.
Guys, no, the World Cup qualifying starts in September. This is big stuff. We're moving from a hexagonal to an octagonal. It's going to be huge.
Base. What's it? Base
I just-
plus feature. Yeah.
English words there. I don't know what any of them mean.
Euros start on Friday. The Euros. Come on, guys.
Zach, how's Canada doing?
Oh, Canada needs to win a playoff against they need to win a playoff against some island nation to make it into the
Okay, fuck you, random island. Fuck you, random Caribbean nation. Go fuck yourselves.
Just some island. It doesn't need to like this.
Yeah, I don't.
Your jersey say some island nation on it.
I don't need to know what country you are. Go fuck yourselves. Oh,
they need
Canada.
it's Canada versus Suriname tomorrow.
Oh,
In other words, some
okay.
island nation.
I mean, isn't every continent an island really?
I mean, yeah. If you think about it.
Is that right, Suriname? No. Hold on.
I don't know. All I saw is people were blown up on Twitter last night about some U.S. men's soccer team.
Well,
like,
here's the deal with that soccer tournament. It's literally something. It's completely made up. Like it was
Great.
a tournament that started back in 2019 that was supposed to be a way for some of these smaller countries to get like more regular international
United States
competition.
Small.
Well, no, the United States and Mexico don't have that problem, but like Martinique or St. Vincent and the
Grenadines.
whatever, they
Some
need
island, yeah.
right. They need a little bit more like help with that stuff. And so I don't know. It's so CONCACAF, the North American body,
CONCACAF.
basically made it's the Confederation of North Central American football teams or whatever.
Terrible. Just rolls off the tongue. CONCACAF.
CONCACAF.
Nothing says sports like CONCACAF.
North Central American and Caribbean is what the NCAC part of that means. Anyway,
Dumb.
it's a made up tournament for smaller countries that the United States and Mexico are gonna win.
Does the winner get like food? Is that like,
Well, after scoring the game-winning goal last night, a United States player had a bottle of Coke thrown at their head.
How great
by a
would it
Mexican
be?
fan.
How great would it be if this tournament here, the winner gets like a bunch of food and like a bunch of like emergency supplies and produce? And
What, like
in the United States
UN
wins?
rations or something?
Yeah. And it's all this like emergency aid and grain and all this stuff. And then the U.S. wins the tournament, and it's just like, you bastard.
That's the thing. Like the tournament, you don't get like preferential seating in the Gold Cup, which is also this summer, which is actually the championship of the region.
CONCACAF.
It's fucking soccer. No one cares. I'm sorry.
You don't get any like preferential World Cup seating. Like there's nothing to it. It's literally a made up thing.
Look, all of this is inevitably
for
just
money.
leading to the United States barely qualifying for the World Cup, where they'll be knocked out in the second round.
Look,
Well, no, the process, like the process now should be United States proof at this point. Like there's literally no way for them to fail out of this, and if they do, then we just blow up the whole sport and never do it again.
Call me
That's
when
fine.
it's got a gorilla, at least at some point, maybe next time, wild gorilla, and and being able to cash in your briefcase, your money thing, and we'll talk.
Do it.
And then, yeah. But that's good though, Zach. You managed to do a segment you were just kidding about and got it in anyway. So well done.
Hey,
Nice job.
That's a free one for you Patreon listeners to Base Plus. You guys get
sorry,
that
Mike.
one.
It's not Suriname they're playing. Canada has to beat Haiti on June 12th and 15th.
Fuck
And they
you,
win-
Haiti.
And they win the food for that year. For that
Yeah, we steal Haiti. We gotta steal Haiti's food if
Yeah.
we win.
Haiti's great and nice.
they're like-
Because it's Trudeau, probably their COVID vaccines.
yeah, of course. Of course, yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Fuck, you'll steal those either way, Mike. So win or lose, you get those. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. As always, thanks for tuning in. I don't know what the fuck we talked about tonight, but it made us laugh a lot, so that's good.
Yeah.
Subscribe via Apple Podcasts,
We talked about
Spotify.
rocket skates.
That too, right? Shit. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spreaker. No more Spreaker. Sorry about that. No more Spreaker. The YouTubes and wherever fine podcasting is sold. We will see you next week with another exciting edition of whatever the fuck it was we did this week. So see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.